When we enter a relationship, we expect to be valued, cared for, and emotionally supported by our partner. In the beginning, love is often full of enthusiasm, shared moments, and deep connections. However, over time, things may begin to change, and we start to notice subtle signs that the dynamic between us and our partner is shifting. Relationships are built on trust, communication, and mutual affection. But when one person begins to emotionally withdraw, it can be difficult to recognize and even harder to address. One of the most painful realizations in a relationship is when you feel like you're the only one invested in it. As time passes, it becomes clear that the love and attention you once received are no longer the same. Your partner may stop initiating contact, become distant, or act like they no longer care about the things that once mattered to both of you. This emotional distance can creep in quietly, often unnoticed at first, until it becomes impossible to ignore. In such situations, it's easy to feel lost, confused, and unsure of where you stand in the relationship. The bond that once felt unbreakable now seems fragile, and the trust you once had begins to erode. At times, these signs are so subtle that they may seem like temporary issues, perhaps the result of stress or external factors, but they are often a sign of deeper emotional issues at play. The emotional withdrawal of a partner can manifest in many different ways. They might stop making an effort to surprise or impress you, lose interest in deep conversations about the relationship, or avoid sharing personal details with you. Their actions may no longer align with their words, and they may become more focused on their own activities rather than the shared experiences you once enjoyed together. Affection and intimacy may fade, and they might start acting indifferent or uninterested in your feelings. In a healthy relationship, partners actively seek to nurture and strengthen their bond, showing up for each other in times of need. But when one partner stops showing interest or becomes emotionally unavailable, the other person is often left feeling neglected, confused, and hurt. These signs are not always easy to face, but recognizing them early on can be crucial in understanding whether the relationship is still fulfilling and worth investing in. It's important to acknowledge these signs and address the underlying issues before they cause irreparable damage to the connection you once shared. 1. They rarely initiate contact or spend time with you. When your partner rarely reaches out to you or makes an effort to spend time together, it's a sign that something has changed in the relationship. Initially, there may have been frequent texts, calls, or spontaneous hangouts, but now those moments seem to have dwindled. For instance, if you're the one always texting first or suggesting plans, and they barely respond or seem uninterested, it indicates a lack of emotional investment. Over time, this behavior can make you feel more like an afterthought than a priority, which reflects that their feelings may have faded. Relationships thrive on mutual effort, and when one person stops initiating contact, it can signal a shift in how they view the connection. 2. They avoid deep conversations about the relationship. When your partner starts avoiding deep conversations about your relationship, it can be a clear sign that they're not as emotionally invested as they once were. Early on, discussions about your future together, feelings and goals might have been a common part of the relationship, but now they seem to shut down any attempt to talk seriously. For example, if you bring up topics like commitment, your emotional needs, or the state of the relationship, they may quickly change the subject or act distant. This reluctance to engage in meaningful dialogue suggests they are no longer willing to work through any issues or even consider the future of the relationship, leaving you feeling unheard and unsupported. 3. They no longer make an effort to surprise or impress you. When your partner stops making an effort to surprise or impress you, it signals a shift in their feelings. In the beginning, they might have put in the effort to plan special dates, bring you thoughtful gifts, or do things to make you smile. But over time, if those gestures start to fade, it can feel like the relationship has lost its spark. For example, you may notice they no longer remember the little things that once mattered to you, like your favorite coffee or a special occasion. The absence of these efforts can leave you feeling unappreciated, as it shows that they no longer prioritize making you feel valued or loved. It's a sign that they may not be emotionally invested in maintaining the excitement and connection that once existed between you. Their actions no longer align with their words. When your partner's actions no longer align with their words, it creates a disconnect in the relationship that's hard to ignore. They might say all the right things, promising love, loyalty, or commitment, but their behavior tells a different story. For instance, they might claim they're too busy to spend time with you, but you notice them making time for other activities or people. This inconsistency can be confusing and hurtful, as it undermines the trust and security that a relationship needs. When someone repeatedly says one thing but does another, it shows a lack of authenticity and effort, suggesting that their words are no longer a reflection of their true feelings or intentions. They're more interested in their own activities than yours. When your partner becomes more interested in their own activities than in yours, it shows a growing emotional distance. Initially, they might have been excited to participate in activities that were important to you or share experiences together, but now they seem disinterested or distracted. For example, they may spend hours on hobbies, work, or hanging out with friends while showing little interest in your day or what you enjoy doing. This shift can make you feel like you're not a priority in their life anymore. It reflects a lack of emotional connection and suggests they are less concerned about nurturing the relationship, focusing instead on their personal interests or outside distractions. They've become distant and emotionally unavailable. When your partner becomes distant and emotionally unavailable, it's often a sign that they are withdrawing from the relationship. At first, they may have been open about their feelings, shared personal thoughts, and offered emotional support. However, over time, they may start avoiding intimate conversations or shutting down when you try to connect on a deeper level. You might notice they no longer share their struggles or seek comfort from you, leaving you feeling isolated. If you try to talk about important matters or your emotions, they might act uninterested or dismissive, making it clear that they're no longer emotionally engaged. This emotional distance can leave you feeling disconnected and uncertain about where you stand in the relationship. They no longer share personal details or experiences with you. When your partner no longer shares personal details or experiences with you, it signals a breakdown in communication and intimacy. At the start of the relationship, you might have exchanged stories from your day, discussed personal struggles, or shared exciting moments, creating a sense of closeness. But over time, if they begin to keep things to themselves and exclude you from important parts of their life, it can leave you feeling left out. For example, they might not tell you about their work challenges, their plans with friends, or personal accomplishments like they used to. This withdrawal indicates a lack of trust or emotional connection, showing that they may not feel the need to include you in their life the way they once did. 8. They stop showing affection or intimacy. When your partner stops showing affection or intimacy, it reflects a significant change in the emotional dynamic of the relationship. Early on, physical touch, kind gestures, or even words of affirmation may have been frequent, making you feel loved and appreciated. However, if those actions suddenly vanish, such as no longer holding hands, hugging, kissing, or even complimenting you, it can create feelings of rejection and uncertainty. The absence of affection might indicate that they are no longer emotionally invested, or they could be struggling with their own feelings, but either way, it leaves the relationship feeling distant. A lack of intimacy, both physical and emotional, is often a sign that the bond between you is weakening. They're always busy, even when you need them. When your partner is always busy, even when you need them, it highlights a lack of priority and emotional availability in the relationship. At first, they may have been there for you during difficult moments, offering support and making time for you when you needed it most. However, if they start using the excuse of being too busy, even in moments of need or crisis, it can feel like they're withdrawing from you emotionally. For example, when you're going through a tough time and reach out for comfort, they may respond with vague excuses or brush off your concerns, leaving you feeling isolated. This behavior suggests that they are no longer making an effort to be there for you and that their attention is elsewhere. It can be a sign that they are no longer as emotionally invested or engaged in the relationship as they once were. They start to act indifferent or uninterested in your feelings. When your partner starts acting indifferent or uninterested in your feelings, it signals a profound emotional disconnect. Initially, they may have been attentive to your emotions, offering comfort when you were upset or celebrating your successes with you. But if they begin to respond with indifference or dismissiveness, such as brushing off your concerns or showing no empathy when you're struggling, it can be deeply hurtful. For example, if you're sharing something important about your day or how you feel, and they seem disengaged or uninterested, it indicates a lack of emotional connection. This shift often reflects a lack of care or concern for your well-being, suggesting that their feelings for you may have faded.